can't we have more practical time and not worry about Chet saying so many hours must be spent in the classroom and so on. So you're looking at a person with serious problems with the Chet. I am guilty of not following what they say. And I guess at my age, as I approach 70, there is no way I will change. Unless they want to join me in the pre-departure area. But these are serious options. Beginning next year in our small school, almost 70% of all education will be delivered based on the right side. Even first-year students will be asked to intern. And the internship is at least 5 months, full-time. They will have to put in 15 to 18 hours a day if they want to be in a business course. In exchange, we let them study for free. So I don't know if it will work, but we are opening 100 scholarships for them. And I'm telling school owners, this is one of the things we can do to transition from traditional understanding of business education to social enterprise education. So for a great school like Ateneo, maybe 1,000 scholarships. I'm looking forward to seeing the Jesuits commit to that. Very nice picture, right? I'm sorry the baby is skinny. That's the only picture that Noreen could find. Do you know what this represents to me? This is the challenge of social enterprise education. It is not about nature and nurture. It is about combining nature and nurture within the context of the university setting. Whether kinakalinga ka, whether you're a baby in swaddling clothes, or one that is ready to walk and enter the boardroom, the nature and nurture argument must be studied carefully by the individual professors and find a way to replicate that within their respective subjects and classrooms. And it can be done. Because there are enough studies that isolate what is it that happens in a Chinese or Indian family where they discuss business all the time that results in a much better opportunity for them, although they may or may not take advantage of it, as opposed to those who never had this thing, but find a friend, end up in some accidental situation or happenstance, and suddenly they find themselves in business. Most of the time because they have no choice, they have to eat. Finding that combination that allows us in a school, in a university to do that is a wonderful challenge. And if we have a group like this one, I was so impressed with the GSBI presentation. I'm sorry I did not get the first part. I think it can be done. We just have to forget worrying about theories, and although research is the one essential thing, measurability is the one thing that I hope we will all do. Enough of this anecdotal evidence. My small foundation, for example, runs a CSR conference. Last September 29, my partner was the Asian Development Bank, and we had it at ADB. It was a by-invitation conference. Every major player in CSR was invited. And we told them, can you imagine what would happen if, looking at this picture, social enterprises were CSR-based? Think of the positive impact that will be within certain parameters and limits. So we had a nice discussion. It was the four-part of a 5-year introduction to CSR of our foundation. I decided 9 years ago to introduce our version of CSR over a 5-year period. So all the major associations of schools are our partners, the MAT, etc. But ADB coming in and saying, what can we do in CSR? That shocked us. We were surprised when they asked us if they could sign an MOA with us. We're nobody, we're a tiny foundation in the middle of nowhere. But now we're working on that. We're looking across the continent. We have projects that we will announce in Korea, in South Asia, and so on. So crazy. By the way, that's not including ADB. Those are our own initiatives for the last 5-6 years. So it's not about your size. Just as the internet has equalized the opportunities for many people, social enterprise education will equalize it for our different organizations. It's not how long you've been doing it, it's not how big you are, it's how well you will commit and understand how it fits. As a school owner, that's always my question. How does it fit into what I want to do for my school? It may not apply to other schools, but it should apply to you. You've all read these people, just a little review. Social enterprise is about having a vision, having a passion, taking risks. You all know these guys, you've read their books, you've watched the TED Talk, video like I have. The one thing I want to say is that we should avoid the weakness of poor execution when we do social enterprise education. I spent my whole career as a professional consultant, and big and small, their problem was execution. As universities, as schools, we're not exempted from the same thing. You cannot have trash lying around, you cannot have somebody not doing a regular report, you cannot allow people to do things without explaining the measurability of what they're doing and so on and so forth. What is their impact? It's not a good statement. How do you measure that impact? That's important. And of course, I hope for all of us, this is all about a more ethical way of living our lives in the new world we find ourselves in. We are in social enterprise education and work because we want to live an ethical lifestyle and that people matter to all of us. So when we look at the transition from entrepreneurship education to social enterprise education, the way I look at it, and I could be totally mistaken, but this is the way I'm doing it. First, I remember it's just about business education. If the business education is not good, I should not worry about social enterprise education. The second thing is on the social matter, it's not about lectures in the classroom. It's all about the varied opportunities for my students to volunteer, hopefully volunteer with a purpose, but to volunteer, to get involved, and somehow through, what is it, osmosis, right? You begin to think, maybe a lifestyle helping people just makes sense. And then I can talk about social enterprise education, a more purposeful approach to the kind of training that we want to give certain people. But as I was telling my colleagues in my school, we focus on those in college, but we work with everybody else. So my small foundation, we run caravans. A corporation, a CSO can call us, we will go to your office, we will go to wherever you are, anywhere in Asia, and we will run a caravan. We'll talk to you, we will run roundtables. We've been running roundtables for 9 years. We will do a workshop for 2 people that will have to be online because it's not viable. But we have online forum. You can sign in. If you want to know schedules, I don't know, I think they should be in our website. So there's something that a school can do, and that is to keep in the minds of people a constant barrage of things related to social enterprise. And that's why I was so happy to see Phil said here and so on. These are the guys that will make us look better because they don't have to do it, right? So, look at this picture. Environment, seniors like me, people who are sick. We should understand that this is not the social enterprise education, at least for me I'm talking about, although it's very important. We want to help everybody at social enterprise, but in school it's social enterprise for business, for making money. And we should be very careful about that. As educators, at least for me as an administrator, I don't want to be a bleeding heart. I want to volunteer on my own. But to teach the young kids, apart from understanding this, I want them to understand. It's first about business skills. It's first about learning how to study, how to do a market report, and so on and so forth. Because when we expose people to all these things, sometimes they forget it's not enough to have a good heart. You might end up with a heart attack. I'm kidding. So that one horse on the pond, I would like many horses to drink from the pond of social entrepreneurship. So in closing, I want to share 5 brief stories with you of people involved in my foundation. Here is a CPA who gave up, traveled by backpack, and along the way for I don't know how many years, volunteered with us. And now we're helping her put up a foundation. We run camps. For example, you have a group of people with good ideas, you can come to a project development camp. And we have retired partners of major accounting firms, lawyers, etc., who will help them review. Is that idea worthwhile? They can then go to a second camp to develop that idea. I think we charge 100 pesos or 300 pesos, something like that. So no one should complain it's too expensive. But we will then develop the camp, and we're totally brutal about it. We can have a camp of 30 people and 0 will go to the next stage. It's not about being nice. This is business. You don't have a business case, go back to the drawing board. And you will find out in less than 8 hours. Then there is a series of funding cuts. Every member of my boards, I have a board of trustees and advisory board, we are all angel investors. We have to put our money where our mouth is. We're not big time, but most of us were presidents or chairman of the boards or partners in major firms in the US and Europe. And they can afford to put in a few pesos. We also have arrangements with crowdfunders. You want a crowdfunding exercise? Well, we have the crowdfunders to sit with you and fund your project. But same process, project review, project development, and so on. First time I talked about an award was about 6.5 years ago. And I decided that I should get an international partner. So about 2 years ago, the chairman of the board of Pricewaterhouse and I had a conversation, and over 3 meetings, they agreed not only to help us, but to co-present. We will start in the Philippines and then bring it. Obviously, we can go anywhere. The award is a cash prize, but more importantly, as a 3-year hand-holding agreement. One with Pricewaterhouse itself, so you become not only regularized, but a good corporate citizen. And then an agreement with us on the small things like get your barangay clearance, register your contracts, and so on and so forth. Those 2 services cannot go beyond 3 years. If in 3 years it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we have that operation. There is a social enterprise mark, we have a CSR mark, we have a CSR award. All of these things are meant towards that one direction, good social entrepreneurship. So John, a CPA, is looking at the travel business for IP locations. Churchill, another volunteer, is into the fashion industry. And like most people in this field, she wanted to quit many times. I think failure and wanting to quit is the rigor in this day. April works for Research World, but wants to do things in other areas. She's the head of CSR for Research World. She's a volunteer. She's been volunteering with us. We ran a program at Coca-Cola at Fort Bonifacio on community enterprise crowd wisdom. So on a Tuesday, if you're interested, once or twice a month, there's a program. We're now changing that to a full caravan. We just bring it to your location, whoever you are, school, foundation, corporation, and so on. We have a program called the Game Changers Program for young professionals who want to change their lives, who want to go into social entrepreneurship. She's actually quite successful as a business person, but decided, I don't know, when I met her, I said, are you sure you want to do this? You'll end up putting in 20 hours a day. She said, okay. Good. So, look at the questions. The questions at the bottom are the questions for schools or universities looking at social entrepreneurship education. That lady over there, multi-awarded in social enterprise, a proud graduate of the Ateneo de Manila University. She runs the Institute for Social Enterprise and Development of our school. But she also did social enterprise herself. A small company called Jacinto and Lirio was the company she put up. Maybe you've heard about it. This is water hyacinth leather, converting water hyacinth to something that looks like leather and selling fashion items. That's our website. Thank you very much. I think I only have 20 minutes. Good morning.